a quiet little town, surrounded by green hills and wide-open fields, there lived a boy named Kieran. Now, from the outside, Kieran's life looked picture-perfect. He had loving parents, good health, a safe home, and a peaceful school. He had everything a child could ask for. But strangely, Kieran was not happy. You see, every time his friend got something new, a new phone, a cool toy, or even just a compliment, Kieran's heart grew heavy. He'd put on a smile, but inside, it felt empty. If someone praised his classmate, he'd feel invisible. If his neighbor got a new bicycle, he immediately wanted a better one. Day by day, this feeling of comparison and jealousy started to grow in his heart, like weeds choking a beautiful garden. He stopped smiling as much. His bright eyes turned dull. He began to sigh, frown, and stay quiet. His parents noticed the change, of course, but they didn't know how to reach him, how to help. Until one afternoon, his grandfather came to visit. Now, Kieran's grandfather was a gentle man, silver hair, soft eyes, and a calm voice that made everyone listen. He lived a simple life in a small hut near the forest. No phone, no fancy gadgets, just peace. People in the town often came to him for advice, calling him the wise man of the woods. That evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, Kieran's grandfather noticed the sadness in his grandson's eyes. He smiled warmly and said, "Come, my boy, let's take a walk." They walked along a quiet path, surrounded by tall, ancient trees. Birds were singing their evening songs. Leaves rustled gently in the wind, and the rich, earthy smell of the forest filled the air. After a while, they stopped near a big, mossy stone, and the old man sat down. He looked at Kieran with kindness and asked, "Tell me, my boy, what troubles your heart?" Kieran hesitated for a moment. Then his voice came out in a whisper. "I don't know, Grandpa. I feel like everyone else has more better things, better lives." The old man nodded slowly. He didn't lecture. He didn't scold. He simply reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, golden notebook. It shone softly in the fading sunlight, looking almost magical. "This," he said, his voice gentle, "is a magic notebook. It changed my life." Kieran's eyes widened. "Magic? What does it do?" His grandfather smiled. "It shows you what you already have." He handed the notebook to Kieran. "I want you to do something for me. Write down 3 things you're grateful for every single day. They can be small or big. It doesn't matter. Just write them down. Do this for 30 days, and you'll see the magic." Kieran was curious, but a little skeptical. A notebook? How could that help? Still, he loved his grandpa, so he promised to try. That night, he sat on his bed, staring at the empty golden pages. He thought for a long, long time. What was he grateful for? Then, finally, he picked up his pen and wrote, "My soft bed feels so comfortable. My mom made my favorite curry for dinner today. The sound of rain outside my window makes me feel peaceful." It didn't seem like much, but as he wrote, a tiny bit of the weight on his heart seemed to lift. It felt good. The next day, he struggled again. What could he write this time? But then he started paying attention. He remembered the warmth of his socks on a cold morning. A joke his friend told that made him laugh out loud. The way the sunlight peeked through the clouds after a storm. Slowly, day by day, writing in the notebook became easier. He started noticing things he'd never paid attention to before. The smell of fresh bread from the bakery down the street. The genuine smile of a stranger he passed on his walk. The cheerful sound of birds waking him up in the morning. The comforting sight of his father, waiting by the school gate after class. Bit by bit, Kieran's heart began to change. He started smiling again. A real, genuine smile that reached his eyes. He laughed more, talked more, and even started sharing his magic notebook with his friends, telling them what he was learning. One day, his teacher asked the class to share a personal story that inspired them. Kieran raised his hand, something he hadn't done in months. He stood up, holding the golden notebook, and told everyone how it had changed his life, how it taught him to see the good things that were already there. When he finished, the classroom was completely silent. Then, suddenly, applause erupted. It was loud and heartfelt. His teacher even had tears in her eyes. Later that day, one of his classmates, a boy he'd always been a little jealous of, came up to him and said, "You know, I always thought you were so lucky. I never knew you were struggling too. Thank you for sharing this." And in that moment, Kieran realized something powerful. Everyone is fighting their own battles. Everyone has things they're grateful for and things they're struggling with. But the moment we choose to focus on gratitude, we begin to heal. 30 days passed. But Kieran didn't stop writing. He no longer needed the magic of the notebook, because he understood that the real magic was inside him all along. He had learned the greatest truth of all. Gratitude doesn't change what we have. It changes how we see what we have. And that, my friends, is where true happiness begins. Thank you so much for watching and sharing this journey with us. If this story resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content that inspires and uplifts. We'll see you in the next video.